Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to learn algebra. Today is our lesson number 113. We are doing word problem. We are at this stage in the game. Day number 101 through 200. We will be doing word problems. Today is day number 13. Let's see what we have for today. The question for today is, what is the price of PE pencils? And of course P is some quantity, we do not know how much it is, it's just P pencils at $D per dozen. It will be a good idea for you to pause the video at this point, absorb it, solve it yourself, and then resume it, okay? Question simply is, what will be the cost of P pencil, P is some quantity, some unknown quantity obviously, if a dozen costs $D. You see, D for dollars. If a dozen of them cost $D. Or if you're watching in Mexico, if the dozen costs P pesos. You get the idea. So how do we do it? Well, let's take a look. Very first thing we need to do is, because of the fact that we are given the price in dozens, very first thing we need to do is to convert this quantity P into dozens. We have P pencils. Well, how many dozen is that? Well, P pencils is same as this quantity P divided by 12 dozens. Whatever that quantity P is, if P happens to be 60, we would have divided 60 by 12 and we would have said that we have 5 dozens. If P had been 36, we would have divided 36 by 12 and it would have been 3 dozens, and so on and so forth. If P happened to be 12, then it would just be a dozen. And in which case the answer would be very straightforward. So $D per dozen would just be $D. We don't know what P is. So therefore whatever the P is, we divide that by 12, and now this quantity is converted into dozens. Now let's see what happens next. Okay, now follow the logic. We know that well, I don't need to write down we know that because it takes up room. We know that 1 dozen costs $D. We know that. We are told that 1 dozen costs $D per dozen. If that's true, that implies that 2 dozens should cost, if 1 dozen costs $D, 2 dozen should cost 2 times $D. And 5 dozen should cost 5 times $D. And 10 dozen should cost 10 times $D. It stands to reason. If 1 dozen costs $D, D is some amount. We don't know how much D is, it's some amount. That's how many dollars 1 dozen costs, and if you were to buy 10 dozens, you're going to have to pay 10 times the amount, obviously. The same logic will hold here. We're buying this many dozens. Therefore, finally, here's the punchline. Here's the punchline, the payoff. Oh, I shouldn't try to write payoff because I don't know whether it's hyphenated or not. Bloody hell. I'm going to leave it up to you. Look in the dictionary, don't be lazy, open the dictionary and find out if payoff is hyphenated or not. Payoff is your reward, that's your, as I sometimes call it, the punchline, the payoff. Therefore, here's our payoff. If 1 dozen costs $D, 2 dozen should cost twice as much, 5 dozen cost 5 times as much, 10 dozen cost 10 times as much. Therefore, P over 12 dozen, P over 12 dozens should cost P over 12 times D dollars. There you go, voila, there is your answer. we were asked how many dollars it will cost. This is the answer, P over 12 times D dollars. P over 12 times D dollars. Now, we're going to write it in a little bit nicer form. D is same as D over 1, so what we have is P times D, which we write it as PD over $12. That's our answer. What we're going to do now is to put this quantity on the side here. P times D over $12. Now, what we want to do is plug in some numbers, convert this algebraic problem into a simple, and convert it into a simple arithmetic problem, and see if this answer holds. We want to verify this answer. We want to make sure that we did the right work. It seems like a right work. 1 dozen cost D dollars, therefore 2 dozen should cost 2 times as much. This 3 steps that I did in between part, the 3 steps that I did in between is just for you to understand, just for me to make sure that you understand what's going on. We could have jumped from here to here. If 1 dozen cost D dollars, then P over 12 dozen should cost P over 12 times D. That's all. So that's our answer. Just plug in some numbers and verify it. I need the room, I need a lot of room, so I need to erase all of this thing. Of course you have it, and of course you can always rewind the video. That's the beauty of it. You're not sitting in the classroom where once the blackboard is erased, it's gone forever. The beauty of this thing is you can rewind it all you want. So just plug in numbers. Okay, here's our answer. We're going to verify it. Let's plug in some numbers. Let's pretend the P equals 24. We'll take away this quotation mark there. This is how we plug in. Just draw a little line and put down 24. And how much do you want to pay for a dozen? In other words, what should be the cost? You determine it. You figure. You tell me. Well, let's pretend a dozen costs $3. So, the answer is very straightforward now. Because now the question reads, listen, we have converted this algebraic problem into a very simple arithmetic problem. The question is very simple. This is the question. What is the price of 24 pencil? What's the price of 24 pencil if a dozen costs $3? What's the price of 24 pencil at $3 per dozen? Well, that's bloody well obvious. 24 pencil is 2 dozens, and it's $3 per dozen, so it's $6. That's all. The answer is $6. 24 pencils is 2 dozens. 1 dozen costs $3. 1 dozen costs $3. So 2 should cost $6. There we go. That's our answer. The answer is $6. We better get $6 out of this expression. If we get $6 out of this expression, then that answer is right. Let's find out. The answer was P times D over 12. Watch what happens. How much was our P? Our P was 24. Our P was 24. How much was our D? Our D, we said, is 3. Over 12. I'm going to put this 3 in the black marker because green is very difficult to read. So it's 24 times 3. 24 times 3 over 12. Do you think we'll get 6 out of it? We better get 6 out of it because that's the answer. Let's see. There you go. 24 divided by 12 is 2, and 2 times 3 is 6. Voila. It gives us our $6. That's all. And since this expression gives us the right answer that we already know is true, which is $6, if 1 dozen costs $3, 24 should cost $6 because 24 is 2 dozens. 1 dozen costs $3, 2 dozens should cost $6. When we plug in the values of the variable in this expression, this gives us $6. It is the correct answer. P times D over 12 is the answer. That's it. That's all. We're done for today. I will see you tomorrow on day number 114, where we'll talk about cheeseburgers. Yes, yummy. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye.